Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick and welcome back to Dishonored. In the last episode, I completed the first of two DLCs, The Knife of Dunwall, following the Dowd storyline. By process of elimination, you can probably assume I'm going to be playing the second DLC today, the Brigmore Witches. Let's get into it. In the beginning of this DLC, we take the role of Dowd, the assassin that murdered the Empress, but if you watch my last video, you already know that. This DLC directly follows the end of the last, where this tweaker threatened me, telling me that she and her witches would kill me. I begin by having my greatest fantasy in a dream by killing Corvo. I then wake up to an idiot assassin looking over me like a kid that apprehensively approaches their sleeping parents after they piss the bed. As soon as I woke up, I opened the chest at the end of the bed, finding this corrupted charm. When I equipped the thing, my new ability was that enemies couldn't see me as long as I was perfectly still. This might be the greatest ability I've ever gotten. You will see in the upcoming events that this thing saved countless hours of time. I went downstairs to have my morning piss and was unfortunately met with more fashionable assassins. I spoke to one of the ones that was very busy staring at a table, and he told me that he found someone named Lizzie Stride. For some reason, we need her boat, and that's going to be a little complicated because she's currently residing behind bars with no chance of getting out for the next 1,000 years. Quite literally, 1,000 years. The plan is for me to break her out so she'll lend us her boat as a payment for the kind gesture. I'm still not sure why we're even getting this fucking boat, but my job is simply to beat the shit out of people and not ask questions. It's time to go to Coldridge Prison, the same place where I escaped as Corvo, which in this current timeline just happened. Basically, this place is gonna have two prisoners escape in the same week. That's rough. I can't imagine that's good for business. The beginning cutscene of the prison mission gave me some background info on why I need this girl's ship. Basically, this girl Delilah that I need to kill is an agoraphobic that never leaves her fucking house. And her house is way far out past swimming distance. So I need a boat. Now that we're all caught up on the timeline, let's get work on breaking her out. When I arrived at the prison, I traveled up this bridge and tested my new ability. To my surprise and delight, it worked quite well. These dumbasses have no idea I'm sitting right in front of them. I made my way through the various rooms, stealing all they shit, and eventually reaching the room right outside the actual cells. Exploring some more, trying to find another way into the room with the cells, I found this interrogation room and a crispy man in the center. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think this guy's interrogation went very well. When I played a recording of the interrogation, I noticed some guards interrogating a woman and then a bunch of screams. Some shit went down, and judging by the looks of the room, it didn't end well. I left that mess alone and eventually entered the actual cell room, and after peacefully neutralizing all the guards, I looked around at all the cells trying to find Lizzie, and upon finding this logbook, I found that it noted the cells of two people and no more. And by some crazy coincidence, one of them happened to be Miss Stride. That's some crazy ass luck. I then made my way up the levels to Lizzie's cell, letting out various prisoners in the process. After some time, I found Stride's cell and she was a little more secure than most prisoners. I don't even know why they have a fucking bed in here if she doesn't use it. Seems like a waste of resources to me. Anyways, I let her out of her restraints and she slumped on the floor. I better get a lot more than a boat for this shit. Now I have to sneak out of the prison the same way I got in, with guards everywhere, basically crouching the whole time, but this time with 100 extra pounds on my shoulder. Lizzie, if you're watching this, fuck you. After using my superior assassin skills and having my shoulder go completely numb, I made it back to the sewers where one of my employees was waiting. After one of the most exciting prison breaks in gaming history, I entered another very low saturated cutscene. Like, you guys didn't have to remove all the color. Despite that fact, I listened to the narrator who spoke about where I was going next, Draper's Ward. This place is where Lizzie Stride's boat was, and 6 months ago, it used to be a place where the wealthy would mingle with their designer clothes. But some things have changed in the little town because now it's a shell of what it used to be. Basically ruins now, and in the middle of a massive gang war between the Dead Eels, Lizzie's gang, and the Hatters. I witnessed this conflict firsthand soon after entering the area.
That's the end of you.
That is one epic show right there. I waited for the battle to end and KO'd the remaining survivor. You put up a valiant effort, my friend, but this does not change the fact that you need to be unconscious for me to continue my work. I continued my journey through the war-torn streets and instigated another battle between the gangs. They were having a lighthearted chat about wanting to kill each other, and I decided to elevate their thoughts by throwing some choke gas at them. This one was won by the Dead Eels. Good fight, young chaps. Anyways, I think it's time I stop treating this war like a WWE event and get to the actual objective at hand. So I made it to the riverfront after taking out the dead eels that won the battle, and one of my hitman subjects told me about Edgar Wakefield and the fact that he's taken over the ship while Lizzie's been away. So I have a sure target now. Something else strange happened as I was looking around, getting closer to the ship. I spotted this person spying on the ship up above on a roof. I was curious about this and moved in closer to really see who this person was, but then she just vanished. Either the drugs are catching up to me again, or we have a real problem on our hands. Since I partied hard the previous night, it's most likely the first. I made my way to the boat, and when I tried to start the engine, nothing happened. So that's yet another issue in the long list that I have. I'm surprised Dowd hasn't gone crazy over all this stress. Nonetheless, I found Edgar Wakefield in the lower deck pacing around and mumbling. I gave him a loving chokehold and a lullaby, and he soon fell asleep. I then went back to the top deck and sounded the ship's horn. As soon as I set it off, Lizzie Stride teleported to the ship, immediately giving orders to everyone. This horn also completely changed the nature of everyone because every single person went from hostile to peaceful. That's a damn powerful horn. I then went to speak to Lizzie about leaving, and she notified me that the engine coil was taken by the Hatters and I need to get it back. 100+ people in her gang, and I'm the only fucking person that's obligated to retrieve the coil. Makes sense. Through their conversation, I also found out about the geezer, who is the current leader of the Hatter gang. Dowd's plan is to just sneak up on him alone and kind of bully him around a bit until he gets peer pressured into giving the engine coil back. But I guess time escaped me because the dude's about 100 years old now, and to top it all off, if he dies, the building he's in gets fucking gassed. So my original plan isn't gonna work, but I have a new one. I'll seduce him. Wait, no, I'll do something for him, a favor, and in return he'll give me the engine coil. I went to the textile mill, which is the base of the Hatters. There, I snuck around the well-dressed men until I found the building the geezer was in. I don't even know why you would hang around in that place. From what I've heard, that dude could have a stroke and die any second, and then what are you gonna do? Nothing. Literally nothing. You're just gonna get your lungs filled with cyanide or whatever kind of gas he uses and fucking die. And this is exactly why I will be hanging out in the building for the next few hours. Along the way, I found that one guy that I previously saved from a makeshift prison in the last episode. Apparently, he didn't learn from his mistakes and got a job here, so clearly he was not worth the effort saving. Anyways, he told me that the geezer's nurse, Trimble, never lets anyone get close to the old dude in what he claims is fear of his health. But what everyone knows is really happening is that Trimble is really running the place, influencing the geezer and making decisions. I made it to the geezer's office with this newfound information and saw that Trimble was berating the helpless man. He was saying some stereotypical evil shit about how he made the gang better, and before him, the gang was a shadow of what it is now. And because I'm a no bullying the elderly activist, I stepped in. See everyone, don't be a bystander. When you see a crippled, shirtless old man that's basically a living time bomb being harassed by another slightly younger man, don't hesitate to stand up. As soon as I began speaking to the men, I just gave away my identity and my goal, which is not really ideal in situations like this. That was kind of a dumb move by Dowd. Luckily, my stupid approach to this issue worked, and after Trimble sucked face with Geezer, he told me that they only needed that engine coil because someone shut off the flow that turned their water wheel. He sent men down there to restore the flow, and none of them came back. And maybe that was a little too honest. Of course, now I know I should be careful, but I just pissed a little at the thought of some giant monster ready to kill me. Thanks, Trimble. I went down to the sewers where this water wheel was and found a woman on the ground in distress. When she asked me to help her up, I declined. You could either assume I'm simply an asshole or I sensed the trap, but nonetheless, this woman went crazy wacko on me and killed me almost instantly. Maybe next time I will just not interact with her. Next, I found another statue of Delilah that spoke to me again. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Dowd has an addiction to hallucinogens, and this specific statue brings on a strong reaction. Eventually, I reached the water wheel room, holy shit, that's a tongue tire, where I found some women teleporting around in strange clothing. This is when I put it together that all these women I've been seeing are witches working with Delilah. Anyways, after neutralizing the witches, I found the water wheel and saved the planet. Okay, maybe it wasn't that big of a deed, but I still helped out a lot. I went back to speak with Trimble, who was still smooching on old Geezer, and I won't lie, it made me very uncomfortable. He then gave me the combination to a locked room where the engine coil was. You see, kids, I didn't even have to kill the dude. Not everything is solved by violence. Damn, if I keep rolling out these positive lessons, Darman's gonna have to hire me. After that, I went back to the ship, and it was very nice not having to sneak around anymore. Everybody's on my side here, and I feel very welcomed for the first time. I then installed the engine coil, and I saw this out of the corner of my screen. You probably know this from watching the series, but if you don't, this little thing means someone's on your tail and they're detecting you. This was very strange to me because this only shows up on hostile enemies. Like I just said, everyone here is not an enemy, so I shot up to the top deck and hit at the controls. I heard a lot of shouting, shit breaking, and fighting. I then saw in the top right that the Brigmore Witches had been repelled. Ah yes, you are very welcome for that heroic feat I just accomplished. I really put my life on the line just then fighting all those witches. I then started the engine to the ship and sailed to Brigmore Manor. manor. Cutscene time. The narrator said that the Brigmores were an ancient family that went bankrupt years ago. Since then, the manor has housed 2 gangs, a smuggling ring, a fuckton of rats, the Brigmore Witches, and what was the final place of battle between the Teletubbies and the law. Unfortunately, the big coke smuggling teddy bears didn't make it. But we're not here for them. We're here for Delilah. I entered the premises of the manor and quickly found out that it was not a well-kept place. Just like everything else in this fucking game, it's pretty run down. But I made it inside the building, having many witches get all up in my shit in the process. I got in through this fake grave that had many booby traps inside. Once I got inside the actual manor, I started to notice just how beautiful it was. I mean, the rubble on the floor, the grimy walls, the dark rooms, and especially the swamp-themed corridors really brought out a lot of character and personality. While I was exploring the home, I found one of Delilah's fucking diary entries that talked about how relieved she was at the fact that I had not figured out her plan yet. Well, Delilah, unfortunately, I will be stopping your schemes soon enough. Soon after, I found another one of these notes. This one just gave me a little bit more information on her plan. Honestly, Delilah, I don't think you should scatter your diary pages around your house when people are constantly trying to stop you. It's not an extremely intelligent thing to do. After a while, I found Delilah's studio, which probably has seen better days, and searched around. She drew a lot of sketches of our girl Emily Coldwin, who was 10 years old. So this is a pretty weird thing for a grown-ass woman to be doing. You could draw some interesting conclusions from this, but I'd like not to go there. I found this purple lantern that was named Strange Lantern by the game, and Delilah's entire plan written in detail in her journal, just lying around unguarded. Delilah, I'm gonna say it outright, you're a fucking idiot. As per the game's instructions, I set the light on this blank chalkboard, and it revealed a vibrant painting. My natural reaction was to climb inside this painting, only to find the outsider greet me before sending me to Delilah's little part of the void. I found Delilah J chillin' like I wasn't here, and I was about to call her out for her impotence when I remembered my little ability. I almost slapped the bitch. Anyways, her plan is to use the painting of Emily that she made, do some ritual, and then boom, she's king of the fucking world or some shit. My plan is to replace Emily's painting with this one and everything's fixed. Yeah, I didn't really pay attention to any of this. When she looked away, I replaced the painting and her dumbass went through with the ritual. When she was done waving her farts around herself, she realized that the painting had been replaced and she was sucked into it, never to be seen again. Not really sure what I did, but I think I succeeded. Kind of an underwhelming ending, but that's Delilah taken care of and Emily saved. And nobody even knows it happened. I guess I fucking changed reality because I jumped into the future where Corvo stands over Dowd and kills him, but that didn't happen. He merely manhandled him and threw him to the ground. This low chaos run really shows that I changed my ways from when I was playing the original game. I became more grounded, sparing, and forgiving to those that harm me, but that was fucking boring and I won't be doing that in Dishonored 2.